Scaling the Bitcoin network, challenges and innovations. All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to unpack the fascinating and honestly sometimes frustrating reality of Bitcoin's scalability. I mean, we all see those massive headlines about decentralized finance, right? But today, we're looking directly under the hood at the network's actual mechanical limitations and the incredibly ingenious Layer 2 solutions being deployed to fix them. So, why can't Bitcoin handle the world's traffic? It's a great question. If this technology is so groundbreaking, why does it struggle the second heavy global traffic hits it? Well, we have this system designed to be completely revolutionary, yet it currently has a strict hard-coded limit on its transaction throughput. As more and more people adopt it, we run straight into what's known as the scalability trilemma, trying to perfectly balance security, decentralization, and speed. And here's the thing, we aren't just dealing with a temporary software glitch here. We are looking at a fundamental architectural feature of the network that creates a natural bottleneck. To understand how developers are actually fixing it, we first have to understand the mechanics of what happens every single time you hit send.
It all comes down to the verification process. Every single transaction absolutely must be cryptographically verified by network nodes and compiled by miners. Now, this isn't just busy work. This proof-of-work consensus mechanism is literally the very foundation that makes the blockchain trustless and immutable. It's what guarantees network security. But as you can probably guess, that high level of security requires some serious computational effort and time. Think of every transaction as a physical piece of clay that has to be painstakingly verified and stamped by miners. Every transfer of value, no matter how big or small, has to go through this exact same rigorous protocol before it's officially cemented into the ledger.
10 minutes. That brings us to a hard architectural speed limit. New blocks, which you can think of as heavy clay boxes waiting to be packed with those stamped transactions we just talked about, are appended to the chain only once every 10 minutes. And because each block has a strictly limited data capacity, there is a hard mathematical cap on how many transactions can be processed at once. The block space is finite, and the schedule, it's completely uncompromising. The network is fundamentally programmed to maintain this exact 10-minute cadence to preserve the integrity and synchronization of all those decentralized nodes across the globe. But that naturally chokes the total number of transactions that can actually go through at any given time.
So what happens when usage grows? Well, when network usage spikes, that block space fills up instantly. Unconfirmed transactions get pushed into a holding area known as the mempool. I want you to imagine a massive, slow-moving traffic jam where the line of cars just keeps getting longer and longer. As this transaction queue grows, confirmation times inevitably drag out. Your transfer might have to wait for the next block or the one after that. And because block space is essentially prime real estate, users are forced to bid against each other. They attach higher transaction fees just to incentivize the miners to prioritize their specific transaction. It creates a highly congested and, honestly, really expensive environment during peak demand.
When we compare payment volumes, the real-world friction becomes super obvious. A traditional credit card network processes tens of thousands of transactions seamlessly every single second. That legacy infrastructure is centralized, sure, but it's built purely for massive instant volume. By contrast, Bitcoin's base layer currently handles only a tiny fraction of that. We're talking roughly 5 to 7 transactions per second. Yeah, 5 to 7. For a decentralized network to truly compete as a global, everyday payment system, processing a handful of transactions a second simply isn't going to cut it. The ultimate challenge here is figuring out how to move more data without compromising that absolutely vital proof-of-work security protocol. Since altering that uncompromising 10-minute schedule or hard forking the block size introduces major structural risks to decentralization, developers had to get creative. They found a way to pack the data more efficiently. Enter SegWit, or Segregated Witness. SegWit fundamentally optimizes block space by separating or segregating the cryptographic signature data from the transaction itself. It acts like a master packer, neatly optimizing the space inside those 10-minute clay boxes. By reorganizing the data structure, it elegantly increases the transaction throughput, and it does this without altering the foundational block rules of the base layer. It's just a really clever optimization that maximizes the efficiency of the existing architecture. This base layer efficiency perfectly sets the stage for our next big solution, the Lightning Network. This is a Layer 2 scaling solution, and I like to think of it as a high-speed express lane. Utilizing a network of state channels, users can route faster, vastly cheaper payments off-chain, sending funds back and forth almost instantly. The whole system just bypasses those 10-minute block wait times entirely for individual transfers and only checks back in with the main Bitcoin blockchain to securely settle the final tab. You get the incredible speed and low fees necessary for everyday transactions like buying a cup of coffee, while still retaining the ultimate, unbreakable security of the main chain for the final settlement.
Ongoing innovations are helping the network become faster, more efficient, and ready for wider adoption. And that's exactly where we are right now. By combining the better packing and data optimization of SegWit on the main chain with the off-chain velocity of the Lightning Network express lanes, the entire system is actively transforming. It's a really brilliant multi-layered approach to scalability. The underlying technology is continually adapting, easing those frustrating mempool bottlenecks, and scaling up to handle the complex demands of a massively growing global user base, all without sacrificing those core tenets of decentralization that started it all. So as we wrap up this explainer, we are left with a massive question to ponder. As these upgrades continue to ease the bottleneck, drastically reduce fees, and prepare the network for the masses, are these innovations enough to make Bitcoin the true future of finance? I mean, is this the exact moment the technology finally breaks through its architectural limits to become the everyday financial standard for the entire world? The technical infrastructure is certainly being built right before our eyes, but mainstream global adoption will absolutely be the ultimate test. Thank you so much for diving into this with me. Keep asking big questions and keep learning.